Hey everybody, this is Perch, and I haven't been called this for a while in the comments, or I missed it, one of the others. Um, I by the way, this is directly out to Mumbles. Mumbles, you got to come up with some new material. I used to really enjoy the Mumbles roast, but it's like the same roast. Come on, man, you could do better. That's all I'm saying. You could do better. Which kind of leads into the general kind of thought process I have today, which is it's the Dad Perch title that every now and then somebody puts on me, and it's one of those cases where I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. I'm just disappointed in you, and in particular, it's for things that are really obvious, and it comes from a place of love, like any father. It comes from a place of I want you to succeed. I want you to do well. I think one of the things that I don't know. I'm not most parents. I think certainly for me is that my hope is that my children do better off than I do, than I am doing, whatever it is. I want them to make more money. I want them to work less. I want them to have a career they enjoy more. The thing you always hope for with your children is that they'll do better than you. And so with comics, I don't consider comics my children, but comics are something I deeply love and I enjoy. So my motivation and my thought process around comics is almost always I want it to do better. I want it to do better than it did before. I want the years behind me to be worse than the years ahead of me. Even if I don't get to read all the comics, even if they don't all, even if they're not all for me, or after I'm gone, after I'm dead, my hope is that the comics are better still. I want everything to grow. I want the people who craft these stories and make these things happen. I want them to be successful. I want them to be fed and healthy, and I want them to be well paid. My hope is that people creating comics and putting their art onto the page and creating this entertainment, my hope is that they don't have to worry about paying bills, about life getting in the way. I want them to be free from those mundane things to focus on the art, because if they can do that, then they can do better work, and I'm going to enjoy the comic more. And it is all selfish, right? I want good comics, but that's my hope for comics. And so I get into the mode, from time to time, that is the quote unquote dad perch mode, where it's like, I'm not angry. I don't get angry that much, and I get exasperated. And even some of the videos where you hear me angry, it's nowhere near the level of anger you hear in kind of other channels. But it is exasperated at times, and it is disappointed a lot. We did the video talking about the digital strategy, it triggered something in my mind, because it's like, oh my God, 14 years later, and Joe Q is saying the same things about digital, despite everything that's happened. Despite the fact that the iPhone, when I had my talk with him, was not non-existent, but it was just beginning. It really didn't have any of the strength it had today. The App Store was just starting to become a thing. There were still a lot of questions about would anybody even write apps for this. Is that even how it's going to work? There were lots of discussions. I don't know if you remember this around. Well, nobody's really going to write apps. Apps are that's temporary, because nobody wants to give Apple control. Why would they ever give Apple control? Now, you know, tens of millions of apps later and billions of downloads, it's like at least nobody's saying that anymore. Every now and then I hear somebody, when I attend like a tech seminar, there's somebody up there who's like, nope, the apps are going to die, and then everybody's going to be using mobile web bookmarks. And I was like, oh, okay, pal, whatever you say, whatever you say. But it was exasperating and infuriating that 14 years later, with all the changes, all the evolution, all the different things that are going on, that this is where it is. It was exasperating to read the Hellfire Gala, and in one little panel, there's this clip of Jordan White bringing a date. It looks like and Jordan White's drawn into the comic, and he's bringing in Gwenpool, which is an analogy for at least analogous in look and feel to Heather Antos, at least for somewhat, sort of, kind of. I mean, she had her fingerprints on that character. It was the Heather Antos kind of hair dye, anyway. And It was an exasperating panel because it was a dumb joke that really didn't have anything to do with the comic and felt like an insider thing. And the reality was, it was an insider thing. As it turns out, people were debating on, or talking about setting up this joke in the comic as a way to take a shot at, at the internet, at Twitter, and to some extent at Heather. I think that there's certainly a lot of people at Marvel who are not fond of Heather, especially in the editorial kind of area. No matter what is said on Twitter, there's definitely rumblings that go on. I mean, they're there, and at the same time, it's like, oh, we also get to take a shot at that Zach guy. So you make the comment about being the girlfriend, and you're looking at this going, again, it's that dad Perch mode where I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, why are we doing this stupid immaturity here? Does this serve any purpose? It's a funny inside joke to the people making it, but it's wasteful. I'm not saying these people like Heather or Zach don't, you can't ever make a joke about them, or you can't, knock them. Of course you can. You roast away like Mumbles does do to me, but more original. Do it. But in the comic book, when you're trying to land this issue, it's just, there's a time and a place, and it feels just kind of petty and spiteful. That's how it feels. A lot of this stuff right now in comics, again, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed that this thing that I love, that a lot of people, very dear friends of mine, either as collectors, as readers, as creators, love comics, and yet we're doing silliness, and yet we ignore people who need help. We only kind of decide to praise them when they're dead. We make weird judgments about what will sell and what won't sell. We ignore a digital strategy. We continuously pat ourselves on the back, for very basic accomplishments. We look at a area that is sensitive to people, and instead of steering clear for it or being empathetic and kind of trying to tone down some of the anger, instead, we go and pick on this. People pick the scab. They poke at it because it's funny to poke at it, because let's troll the internet. We're struggling to make our business succeed. We're getting passed by translated imports from Japan and police dogs, but all the same, let's spend the time screwing with the fans. That kind of stuff. A number of other people, a number of other channels get really angry over that, and I don't get angry. I just to me, it's like when, and it very much is a dad moment. It's like when I have two daughters, and every now and then their two girls are getting along, everything's fine, and then for no apparent reason, and you never know what's going on in one of their heads, one of them decides to just start screwing with the other one, like just pops them with a rubber band or something. And it's like they're bored and they want to see if they can get some trouble started to get some excitement and drama. And they're like, and it's like, I'm always like, why are you doing it? Why'd you do that? Out of nowhere, you went and just kicked the other one in the butt. Why did you do this? And the kid's always like, I don't know. I don't know. I just thought it would be kind of funny. I think, I'm not sure. And you're like, well, it's not. It's not. You just created a bunch of nonsense. Now you got mom angry, and now you're like, having to take away your iPad for a while or whatever. It's like, why did you do this to yourself? It was a completely stupid, self-inflicted punishment. Why would you do that? It's like, well, I was bored. It's like, and now you get to be miserable. Congratulations. And that to me is too many decisions, too many of the choices in comics come across that way. They come across like, we didn't care about this, we didn't think about this, we were bored, so we created our own problem. A lot of things in comics are that way. A lot of things are create your own problems in comics. How bizarre is that? I don't know. It's weird to me. It's very, very, very weird to me that. It's like, I could give you a million analogies. It's like going to Disney World, spending all the money, being in a nice hotel, paying the overpriced ticket, and you get there and the park is pretty much empty. You can go on every ride you want. No waiting. It's the best possible time, right? The weather isn't unbearably hot. It's a good time. You're surrounded by, all this money that went into the atmosphere and everything else. You can go on all the rides. The world is your oyster. And instead, you go in the park and you decide to like sit in the Starbucks, just kind of hang out there because I don't know, you're like, oh, I don't deserve to go on rides, so I'm just going to sit here in the Starbucks and drink my coffee and be miserable. It's like, but the entire world's out there is for you. With comics, you could do anything. You can create anything. You have aggressive loyalty. And I made this point in other videos, but a lot gets said about the negative people in comics. Oh, there's these negative fans. There's these angry fans. There's the, bad fanboys. There's the toxic fandom. A lot of people talk about that. What isn't talked about as much is the greater number of loyalist fans. These are the fans that may be happy, may be unhappy at times, but they're still shelling out their dollars week after week after week, collecting, caring, making their way. It doesn't matter. Do they have work going on? Doesn't matter. They're going to make that pilgrimage to the comic shop every Wednesday to make sure they get their new comics. That group is bigger than the quote unquote toxic fans. But if you go on Twitter and you look at a lot of creators and editors and you look at what they're talking about, it's not equivalent. There's no what is the opposite of the F Comicsgate tweet that people like to throw out for no reason? It's like everything's going along fine in the day. Nobody's really talking about anything. Creators like, I decide, just a reminder, Comicsgate is a hate group, F them. It's like, where did this come from? Why did you wake up this morning and decide to do this? Just for fun? Like, what was the goal of doing that? Why? And more importantly, and this gets to the disappointed dad bit, where's the tweet that says, hey, you know what? I love our customers. I love the fans who come in every Wednesday and buy our comics. God bless you. What a wonderful group of people you are who continue to support this hobby that I get to work in and I love. Where's those tweets? They do exist from time to time, but nowhere near the picking at toxic fandom. Evil, angry men making women feel uncomfortable, making LGBTQ plus people feel uncomfortable, making blah 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 feel uncomfortable. Like they pick and pick and pick and pick and pick at that, and they're largely dismissive of the people who are actually showing up, buying, supporting, loving. Why pick the bad part of your life? Why not index more on the good part? I'm just asking, to be honest, because I know I speak for a lot of people. Despite everything, tons of people want to work in comics. To write, draw, edit, ink, color, empty out the garbage at Marvel Comics would be a dream for tons of people. Tons of people would love to be in that position. Even people who are very critical of Marvel, if you gave them the chance to write or do something for Marvel, they'd suck it up, reverse course, and they'd do it. Same thing with DC. You're telling, the most hardened, angry, toxic fan. You give them how would you like to, come in here and edit a 6-issue run of Batman? It's like, okay, it's a dream come true for a lot of people, which is by and large why people complain, because it is their dream, and they care about it. Again, the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is apathy. I don't know. Every now and then, the best way to put it, in very much a dad format, every now and then, comics needs good spanking. Not the sexy kind, but the you did wrong. Every now and then, it might be wise to take somebody like your dog that pees on the floor when they're not supposed to take the nose and rub it around in the pee. I don't actually do that, but, I hear that's a thing. And go, look what you did. Look what you did here. Oh, you have 14 years, no digital strategy. All right, guess what? We're going to take your nose and you're going to rub it down in the metaphorical pee that is your complete lack of any business sense, because you did wrong. You should feel shame. I'm disappointed in you. If you love comics, if you care and you're deep into comics, and this is something that has been a big part of your life, and you're willing to devote hours and hours and and thought and energy and money to it, then you know what? I think it is disappointing when you see what appears to be, you know, malpractice, basically uh, very basic human error, very avoidable error. I hate the avoidable errors. Everybody makes mistakes. If you try and you fail, yeah, I mean, it happens, but the avoidable mistakes, the mistakes you could see coming from a mile away, man, those hurt. They really, really hurt. And we got a lot of those. Anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble. Um, you know, I like I said, I'm not mad, just disappointed. That's all. Just disappointed. I still find more I love about comics and hate, or dislike, or an apathetic about. There's tons to love about comics. Just because there's tons to love about comics, it's worth trying our best to do better, isn't it? I think so. Thanks for listening.